Hey Raven, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Yeah, it's super hot where I'm at. How's it?
Like 105 degrees today.
Oh, I guess not so bad. Never mind.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to
Yeah,
FP Marketing and You, where we're going to be talking about market research again and telling the folks how. Last time we talked about the what is market research, and now we should talk about how do we implement it into our everyday strategy.
yeah, absolutely.
So, how do I implement market research? I know we split it up into three categories. It was you,
Yep,
it was your customers, and it was your competition.
yep,
So, how do I apply market research when it comes to me?
sure. Yeah, with the U part, again, I'm all about boxes and breaking things up. So the for each one of those big categories, I kind of split them right down the middle. So for the U part, you've got logistics and details on one side, and then your personality and values on the other side. So for the first part, for logistics, the biggest benefit I see from really researching everything about your product or service, about the cost of the insurance and the cost of packaging and the cost of permits and all that stuff, is not just to have a big spreadsheet and a lot of data and numbers in your head, but the real benefit is so that way you can have as much control as possible,
Hmm.
or basically take out as much risk or surprises as you can. So, I mean, taking out risk from life is impossible, but if you know the price of, say, postage on your shipping, and if postage goes up, you know the price of everything else in your product. So maybe you can figure out a cheaper cardboard to use to offset the price and postage because you know exactly how much cardboard is. And now your profit margins don't change. They don't go up and down because of some government change that you can't control or some global, you know, thing that's going on
Mhm.
that you can't control. Um, so as the more detailed you can be and the more logistics you can have, the more hands-on in the steering wheel that you are.
Mm.
So I mean, I know I'm a little. Sometimes I can be a little. I like control, kind of. I don't like taking risks. I like hedging my
Yeah,
bets.
I mean, this is your baby. You think about it that way. Like, this is your business. This is your baby. You should know everything there is to know about it. What time is feeding? What time does the pamper need to be
Yeah,
changed? All of those details are
yeah,
important. And I think from a soul searching standpoint, like, I think it allows you to be consistent and allows
yeah,
you to show up every day for your business and basically create guidelines, the rule book to how it's going to run, how, like, the guidelines, the content, the sales pitch. How are you going to present it to the world so that you can just stay consistent and show up and everyone knows who you are and what to expect from you? So,
right. Yeah.
absolutely. But what about customers though? How can I use market research when it pertains to my customer?
Hmm. Well, again, splitting it in half. There's one part of learning your customers is learning their values, their personality, kind of how they see the world, their inner workings, and then the other half is learning their demographics and more kind of spreadsheet info.
Hmm.
So the benefit, talk about the first one about the personality, their emotions. The benefit of knowing as best as you can your customer's worldview is so that way you can take your product and service and match it to your customer's true needs. When I say true, I mean below the surface, deeper level emotional needs. Um, I always like to use the example of Starbucks because everyone knows um, that Starbucks. You always think that it's just about coffee because it seems pretty obvious, right? They sell coffee, they sell what are they? I haven't been there in a long time. Some frappuccino, something, no. Sparkling
Coffee esque
mango,
items, yes.
mango, sherbet blast, whatever. You know, but what they're really providing for people isn't the need for thirst, right? I mean, people go there because they're thirsty or something, but that's not really what that coffee or the drink satisfying. What people go there for could be to be recognized, that
Hmm.
emotional need to be seen. And you're speaking of babies and children, all of us are hardwired to want to be seen, whether it's a child wanting to be seen, recognized, paid attention to by their parent. You want to get attention from your boss, from your partner, from your friends. There's just something hardwired into us. So we want to be recognized and know that we are being seen and valued that way. So you can get coffee at a gas station and satisfy that thirst, need. but you're probably not going to be recognized and on a first name basis with the coffee or the gas station clerk. I mean, you might be. So, I mean, I don't want to, I mean, maybe.
Go there every day, but yeah, it's ingrained into the culture at Starbucks.
Yeah.
To recognize your patrons. That's dope.
So, yeah. So once you really know your customers, you can match that. I mean, not everyone wants, maybe they have a different need than being seen, but you don't know until you've done the research and really gotten to know who that customer is. Then you can match it. You don't just guess. Again, I don't like risk. So I'm not just going to wing it and just assume that I know what someone else is thinking. I'm going to take the time to research and actually know as best as I can.
Absolutely. So how do I use the demographics and everything like that to execute my marketing strategy?
Yeah. The demographics of like knowing how old your customers are, where they live, their income. Well, that helps. Again, it takes out risk. So it lets you make, if knowing your customer's personality helps you craft the perfect ad, the perfect billboard, the perfect headline. It's the demographic part that lets you make sure that billboard is put in the perfect part of town. So when you know people's demographics, like if you just take income, when you know your client's, income range, that tells you a lot about where they live. And if you know where they live, that tells you a lot about their daily life, like where they got to go to the grocery store. Where do they get their gas? Where is their closest Starbucks? Where do they work? And once you know where they go in their daily life, either literally, like driving to work, or even digitally, if you know what websites they're using, if you know kind of their digital habits, now you can place that ad and that billboard, not just on any street, but on a street that your customers drive by when they go to work.
Gotcha.
So the demographics is more of the thing keyword you already said is execution.
Okay, so we got that. We got the me part, we got the customer part, but I'm still a little iffy on the competition. How are we going to use market research to, I guess, fight the next person who's selling muffins or, building furniture? Like what is that going to teach us?
Yeah. Well, I mean, with, thinking in tactical terms and maybe risk assessment, I also always think in fighting terms. That's the metaphor that sticks with me. But that the benefit of researching your competition is so that you can know what they do better than you and to know what they don't do better than you. Just like when you've got an opponent in the ring and you're fighting someone, a good fighter is going to size up the other opponent. So that way they know what the opponent can do better than them. Or if you're in a boxing ring, maybe that opponent can move faster than you. Maybe they can punch a lot harder than you. But so let's say if they punch harder than you, they might not be as fast as you. So you're not going to try to go toe to toe with them on strength or their punch impact. But maybe you can get around them faster. Maybe you can do a lot of little hits and take the wind out of them. So once you know who your competition is and everything you can about them, automatically it shows you what they're better at than you, what they're not as good as you, and lets you slip right in between.
Question though. I have a question though. So would it benefit me to be completely different than my competition? Would it benefit me to just go completely off base and just start something? How much should I feel the pressure to create something completely brand new?
That's a good question. And I think sticking with the fighter metaphor, if you're in a boxing ring and it's boxing, and all of a sudden you bring a jousting stick, you're probably going to get kicked out. So maybe you think, well, if everyone's using boxing gloves, I'm going to bring in something different. Maybe it's a good point, but that's not the rules of this game. And if you take the rules of this game to mean your industry, it's kind of the same thing. So you can definitely go too far in being different, of zagging or zigging too far, one way or the other. I also think about it like being in high school or in social groups. So there's this weird balancing act, or at least I don't. At least that's how I remember it. Maybe it's different.
Yes, definitely.
Weird balancing act of making sure that you fit in, but also that you stand out. But if you stand out, in high school, if you stand out too much, then you get picked on, or it gets awkward. You get kind of cut out from the group. But if you look too much like the group, now you're too, I'm not down on all my internet slang. Is it too basic? Is that
yes, that's the word.
Too basic. So you gotta find the sweet spot. You don't want to be awkward. You don't want to be basic. And it's right in the middle. And each industry, just like each school, each age group, each peer group, they have their own social norms, their own dress code, their own unspoken rules.
Yeah.
So same way, like fast food, a lot of times fast food uses the colors of red and yellow. So McDonald's, of course, but a lot of other fast food places use either one of those colors. Like Wendy's is red, Burger King's got red, and it's got some blue. So if all of a sudden you've got green everywhere, you might stick out, but you need to have some red and yellow. Otherwise, people driving by might think you're a grocery store or a gas station and not realize, oh, that's a fast food place. So you got to fit in a little bit. Yeah.
I would never thought of that ever.
Oh, yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So like for the person who is listening to this right now and is taking notes, because you need to be taking notes, whoever's listening, this is super helpful, but I think this is a lot. So I think we should come back.
Yeah.
Would you be down to teach the people how to do it? Like, yeah, we know how you can use it, but I think they should know how to execute this. Are you going to be down to teach people how to execute these strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It sounds fun.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Come back next time, guys, because Brian is going to teach us how to execute these market strategies, these research strategies in our everyday businesses. So this is Empathy, Marketing, and You. Thanks for joining us.